Howdy whore! Yeah, I got nothing. So I just saw the first episode of season 8 of Game of Thrones and it was pretty good. It wasn't anything spectacular, like not much really happened. For the most part, this entire episode is just, we're getting reunions and we're getting, introductions between some characters that I never met before. And I actually enjoyed that. I'm glad they didn't decide to stuff this episode with a lot of big set pieces, action scenes and whatnot. It's a very calm episode. It's mostly just characters talking and just sort of forming relationships with each other, and for the most part I very much enjoyed it. Now, that being said, it is for the most part what you would expect already. We all knew that Sansa was gonna have a problem with Daenerys. We all knew that all the Northern Lords are gonna have a problem with Daenerys, which, by the way, fuck those Northern Lords. I am getting sick and tired of their fucking bullshit at this point. They're the most annoying, selfish, whiny pieces of shit I've ever seen in my fucking life. They're a bunch of screaming children. They're some fucking, some children that you need to fucking babysit. The moment they don't get what they want, they just start whining and screaming and fucking throwing a tantrum. Fucking hell, they're so annoying. I just wished all of them fucking died. I'm rooting for the Night King to come in and just wipe all of them fucking out. They're so fucking annoying. They don't even have any sort of semblance of an opinion of their own. They just basically rally behind whoever gives the best fucking speech. For instance, there's the scene where the little fucking God, what's her name? That little fucking kid, Mormont or some shit like that. For instance, when she comes up and she's she gives her concern that we voted for you to be the king of the North, and now, you're bringing this foreign bitch and now you want us to follow her, and which is, pretty understandable. And of course, when she finishes that speech, everyone's yeah. And then Jon Snow gives a counter argument, which also makes a lot of sense and actually, is very logical. And it makes perfect sense what he said, and to that they all respond with which I cannot fucking understand what they meant by that. Do they agree with him? Do they disagree? What is their standing? What are they thinking? But I guess that doesn't matter. They're just fucking there to scream and whatever. I don't give a shit. But yeah, the rest of these situations, for instance, Jon Snow's reunion where Bran was in my opinion, is it Bran? Right, it's the Bran is, yeah, it's fucking Bran. Yeah, anyway, his reunion with Bran was in my opinion very good, because it's just kind of oh, he hugged him, but he noticed something is wrong, and there was any dialogue there. It was just kind of you could see some tension there, and you can see that Jon Snow doesn't really recognize his brother, which I kind of liked. I also liked the reunion between Jon Snow and Arya. It was kind of heartwarming, and it was very nice to see Arya smile after she was so fucking tone deaf in the last season. She was so frigid and annoying. I didn't like her in the last season, but in this one she is, she's still kind of being a a badass and whatever, but she's being very likable. She's still the Arya that we know and love, which is something that I enjoyed. One of the sort of introductions, or one of the relationship that surprised me a lot and that I really love, was the introduction between Daenerys Targaryen and Samwell Tarly. Because, for instance, I had completely forgot that she fucking wiped out his entire family, and I love that scene. I love how it fucking started as a comedic, lighthearted scene. He's all awkwardly getting up, oh my queen and whatever, and then that fucking shift, and it's so good. It was not cheesy at all. It was very you could see how torn he is between oh, this is my queen, I'm supposed to love her and respect her, this is Jon Snow's bitch, all of that, and but you could really see the emotions, and the actor pulled it off spectacularly. And it was one of my favorite scenes of the episode. Not my favorite scene, but we'll get to my favorite scene. I like the part where Jon Snow and Daenerys flying those dragons. Yeah, it's a bit cheesy, and but it's kind of a nice scene, you know. It's kind of like the calm before the storm, like, you know, before, like, probably because expect, like, maybe not, if not in the next episode, like by episode 3, like the shit will start to go down. So like having a nice, like, beautiful looking scene like that, you know, it was just kind of, it was cute. I liked it. Now before we get into like some of the major holy shit moments of this episode, I'm gonna just quickly address Euron Greyjoy. I fucking hate him so much. Like, he is just such a fucking annoying character. Like, he reminds me of just like he reminds me of a fucking Serb or a Bosnian, like one of those two. Like, he's so fucking annoying. Like, he's so cheesy. He's like a fucking cartoon villain. I really... Hold on a second, I gotta fucking fly. I just gotta fucking kill it real quick. Hey! Fucking bitch. Motherfucker, can you get fuck with? Alright, we're back. Shit, what was I talking about? Yeah, Euron. Yeah, fuck him. Let's talk about some of the bigger scenes. First one, Jon actually finds out his heritage, which was something that I was kind of surprised by. Like, I was really expecting them to, like, drag that reveal, like, you know, like at least like in the next episode, but like I love that they just kind of did that. And it was also, once again, not overly dramatic, which is something that I liked. It was just kind of like Samwell like told them, like, yo, you're the king, you know, of the 7 kingdoms. You're the son of Lyanna and Rhaegar. I feel like I'm actually interested. Like, I feel like this is going to actually like play a big part in their relationship. And I like that little tease when Varys says like nothing ever lasts, you know. And then like it's kind of like, you know, it kind of contrasts the, you know, pretty and beautiful dragon scene, like with this kind of like, you know, we know that shit's about to go down, like maybe they're not gonna, you know, we know that, you know, dark shit is coming and that there's gonna be now conflict between them, and I'm actually very interested in seeing how that plays out. And I also like the fact that, you know, when Sam told him that, like, you know, and when he talked about like the fact that Daenerys fucking killed his entire family, like, I like that, you know, there was a bit of spite in Sam. Like, it was subtle. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna fuck her up now. You know, it was very subtle, but like, it's something that you're not used to getting from Samwell. You know, like, he's usually very, you know, just like, you know, okay with everyone, and just like seeing him, like, actually like sort of trying to fuck her over, but not really. Like, he's not doing that just to fuck her over. But I still found that like very like interesting. Now, before I get into my favorite scene of the episode, I want to talk about the very ending, which is when Jaime comes to Winterfell. I'm so glad they didn't cram Jaime in earlier in the episode, because like we already have enough shit, like, you know, enough relationships to build throughout this episode. It kind of like, you know, having to deal with that in the next episode is, you know, kind of makes sense, because really, like, you know, while they probably easily accepted Tyrion because, you know, he killed Tywin, so like I understand what they were fine with him, you know, like being there. But with Jaime, like, it's going to be different, you know, like, and I'm very interested to see like the character's reaction. Like, they're gonna probably think he's a spy, and they're like, you know, it's gonna be like pretty interesting. So I'm glad they left that to the next episode. Like, and I like the ending. Like, you know, it was a pretty good cliffhanger. Like, it wasn't cheesy, and just like, you know, it was very well directed, and the atmosphere was pretty good. Now to get to my favorite scene of this episode, and that is the fucking horror scene that happens like near the end of the episode, where the wildlings and the Night's Watch, they go to like the fucking, I think Kostark, or some fucking castle that was already raided by White Walkers, and like they find a little kid like impaled. Like, it was such a fucking good scene. Like, that fucking one scene was better than the entirety of season 7. Like, it was very, like, it was legit, like, from a fucking horror. It was creepy, it was unsettling, and, you know, it kind of like made White Walkers feel like, you know, a very, like, they made them frightening. Just seeing the screams when that kid like came back to life, when he was burning alive, like, it was so fucking unsettling and brutal, and I fucking loved it. So overall, this episode didn't have any action It, you know, had some humor, and like it was mostly just characters talking. It had that one like scary scene which I really loved, but the rest of it is kind of like characters talking, which I like. You know, I like that they didn't rush it. They didn't try like cram everything in the first episode so they like the next one can already, you know, be action packed. Like I like that they're taking their time, but at the same time I'm kind of concerned since there's only like 5 episodes left. Like, are they gonna be able to, you know, do everything right? But judging from this first episode, they're really not rushing it. And one more thing that I want to address before I end the video is I fucking love the new intro. Like, we finally got a completely new sort of, you know, it's still the same style and all of that, but we got a completely new intro, and it looks really good. Like, I think that it looks beautiful, and yeah, that's it. See ya.